You're watching the Eternal Tournament Series.
Hello and welcome back, everyone, to the winners finals of the Season 5 Invitational of the Eternal Tournament Series. I am, of course, your host, Bairdrus, once again joined by my wonderful co-host, LighsOutAce.
Yeah, and now we've got the clash between two players who have vanquished all comers thus far. Sunnyvale and Missing Toes. Stone Scar Burn versus Elysian Midrange. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah, this is going to be quite a back and forth matchup, I have to imagine. It's going to come down to who gets like the aggression. Like obviously the Stone Scar Burn player is looking to gain that early advantage, but Missing Toes has the potential to do things like drop turn 2 False Princes, or even turn 3 False Princes, generally pretty good. Against non-removal, we do see like a Bar's Favor hanging out in Sunnyvale's hand, so if he ends up having that Bar's Favor and he even draws into an Oni Ronin, this could be pretty good for him, I have to say. And notably, Sunnyvale is on the list that plays 4 copies of Rapid Shot in the main. Y'all had talked about that in the pregame show, and 4 copies of Rapid Shot are very, very good against an Elysian mid-range deck like this, since you need ways to bust through Sandstorm Titan.
Yeah, and Sunny just has the dream opener here, Ronin into Instigator with Rapid Shot backup, and then he gets to drop a Impending Doom on turn 4.
Yeah, this is pretty good, although Sunnyvale will unfortunately use his Varus Favor here to take care of the Dawnwalker, which means the False Prince will be he'll be able to set that up for future turns. That being said, though, it's likely Missing Toes will go into the Sandstorm Titan next turn. That'll get blown out by the Rapid Shot, so this is going to be quite an interesting progression of turns. Yeah, because once this gets taken down by the Rapid Shot, if Missing Toes isn't able to if he's not able to hit 6 power on time, the Impending Doom from Sunnyvale will start chunking away in the air, and like he's already taken quite a bit of damage, and there are a lot of those Warcry triggers on top of the deck now.
Yeah, and Missing Toes has no way to like re-trick a Rapid Shot, so he just has to block this and eat it here. Like he has no combat tricks of his own and no fast speed removal, so he just kind of has to block, eat the trick, and then I guess like Xenon Initiation on the Dawnwalker down one of these units.
Yeah, that's probably where he's going to go with this turn, though. If he does use the Xenon Initiation, no, he didn't play Power for turn, so he can at least drop the False Prince as well. So yeah, that'll take care of that. He'll use False Prince to bring it back onto the field, and he's regained control of this board to some extent. Impending Doom now gets taken down by the Dawnwalker, so Sunnyvale's looking for like burn.
Yeah.
Though he should have a very large unit on top of his deck, depending on what he picks up. Like, if he picked up a Soulfire Drake, for example, it should have at least 3 Warcry triggers on it.
Yeah, although even that Soulfire Drake would still get taken down by the Predatory Missing Toes hand. I think Missing Toes is stabilized here. He just has to finish Sunnyvale off before Sunnyvale can rip a couple of burn spells.
Yep, he just has to fade a couple draw steps, and he should be good to go at this point, and he'll be able to lock up this first match pretty cleanly. Even with Sunnyvale having the Dream Opener, like, Missing Toes just hit all his power. He hit the cards he needed. Like, Dawnwalker's fantastic. He had that Xenon Initiation. Like, he had a very good hand as well, even though a lot of it did get countered out by Sunnyvale.
Yeah, so Sunnyvale held the Impending Doom for a turn, hoping that Missing Toes would use the Dawnwalker, and got rewarded for it. Now this Impending Doom is going to kind of run free for a turn. Well, or at least it was going to, if Missing Toes didn't have a Sandstorm Titan and a Predatory Carnosaur in hand, both of which make the Doom kind of irrelevant.
Yeah, it is going to go one turn at least, like you said. And that one turn could potentially be relevant, but yeah, Missing Toes is going to punch in here, and Sunny is in a position where, what does he have as an out? Like, he needs, like, running outs that he doesn't have currently. Like, he would have needed, like, Rapid Shot into Rapid Shot. I think that's, like, his one out at this point, and he doesn't have it. So, that will actually help. Does that buy him a full turn, though? Because I don't think it does. Yeah, he just has to sit back and block this point, so.
He's dead to the killer from the Dawnwalker.
Yeah.
Xaxes.
Yep. He does have the extra damage, since Sunnyvale took the damage from the Impending Doom, so. Unfortunately, that will be knocking him down.
Sunnyvale had a really good opening hand, but then just drew a little more power than his deck could use at the end there.
Yeah. Just couldn't quite get it done, unfortunately. So yeah, he does end up going down there in a very quick fashion. I mean, like I said at the top, that's how these matchups are essentially going to go. Like the Stone Scar player has to hit, they have to hit the ground running, and they have to just curve that out into 25 points of damage right away. Like they are a burn deck. Their job is to just burn 25 points as quickly as possible. And unfortunately, Elysium midrange has a lot of tools that can get in their way. Now, that being said, if Missing Toes has slower hands, it's very easy for Sunnyvale to get under him and kind of take the game away. Like if he hadn't had the perfect curve of like 3 into 4 into 5 right there, like we definitely would have seen a different game.
Yeah, that's what Stone Scar does best. It punishes stumbles really hard. Like if you miss an early turn or like miss a power drop or something against Stone Scar Burn, like they're going to kill you. Like they might not just kill you right away. They might just knock you down to 10 and then have a big enough board to block while they obliterate you a few times.
Yep. That is the way it generally goes. And we do see Sunnyvale having a good start. But again, Missing Toes will have some answers here in the next few turns. Sunnyvale does have Rakano Outlaw, though. And he's going to follow this up with a Queen on turn 4. But this Dawnwalker is going to come down and kind of put a halt on those plans. Although, actually, yeah, it won't because he had double banners. Ooh.
Yeah, now so if he trades this Friendly Wisp, he's going to have depleted power again. Although I guess it doesn't matter since he's just going to play Dawnwalker.
Yeah, I mean, I have to imagine that you're going to trade the Wisp into the Ronin here. I would have almost considered if I was Sunnyvale holding the Ronin there, just to set it up next turn for the Bandit Queen. But I think his line of play was fine as well. He will be able to
guarantee the Warcry in case there's like a Sandstorm Titan waiting in the wings.
Yeah, and this right here is kind of what we were talking about. Like, this is kind of that stumble that Missing Toes can't afford. Like, he's got the Dawnwalker here. This is not going to be able to block this turn because the Bandit Queen's going to run through it. And there's really no follow-up for Missing Toes on the next turn. Like, if he picks up another power, you can crystallize, and it'll buy him 1 or 2 turns. But outside of that, there's not a lot going on, and he doesn't have a large unit he's going to be able to play to recur the Dawnwalker.
All right, well, Temple Sky was nice. Gains another health, gets another chump blocker, so... Missing Toes is gonna make it to 6. Remains to be seen though whether Carnosaur or Scouting Party will be able to turn the board around.
Yeah, though if he has to double chump block here, he's not gonna be able to play the Carnosaur next turn. He's just gonna have to go into a Crystallize, which is okay. Like it's not bad, but it's not really where he wanted to be. He would have rather had the large body on the board.
Yeah. So Sunnyvale also hasn't drawn a unit yet. Power. Rapid Shot hasn't seen what has picked up. What is it, 5 or 6 Warcries yet?
Yeah. He does let this go though. This is pretty smart. Like he keeps the Temple Scribe alive here. It allows him to play Carnosaur, and now he can just use Carnosaur to take down the 3/3 if he needs to, and then he still has a chump blocker. This also lets him recur Dawnwalker, so he'll have another blocker on the following turn. He's got Crystallized, so I mean it's quite possible he could swing this around. Sunnyvale considering playing this Rapid Shot here. And he does elect to do it to trade off the Carnosaur. I like this play a lot.
Yeah, also puts Missing Toes in Obliterate range.
Yep. Now he's down to Obliterate range. He's also down to another Rapid Shot on the unblocked Dracano Outlaw. 8/8 Argenport Instigator is looking pretty good here.
Yeah, that makes this chump block only half as effective.
Yeah, only half as effective, and that Rakano Outlaw still is putting more Warcry triggers on top, and Missing Toes doesn't have a lot he's doing right now. Like, he's going to go Scouting Party this turn and to Crystallize next turn, and that will let him draw some cards, but it also means he's going to have to chump block away some of those tokens that would have otherwise drawn cards anyway, so... And, more Warcry still stacking on top.
Yeah, and this is what I was talking about before. Missing Toes needs to, turn the corner and kill Sunnyvale quickly before Sunnyvale draws Burn. And he just doesn't have the board that it takes to both hold off Sunnyvale's units and pressure him back.
Yeah, and Sunnyvale can only make but so good of blocks here. Like, that's really the issue, is that, these blocks are pretty suboptimal because now he's even in torch range. Like, you had to block 2 there, and now you're dying to torch as well. Although, Crystallized False Prince is pretty good. Like, if he can fade some more draw steps of Burn and units, this might be what he needs to swing the game, and he's going to get 3 draws here as well.
Yeah, and Sunny did just draw another power, so there's still a chance.
That was pretty poor, though, you have to say. That was about as bad of a 3 draws as you could have gotten there. Like, Xeon Initiation just is not doing a lot right now. We'll be able to throw it on the Dawnwalker on the next turn, so it's not bad there, but oh, and Sunnyvale has the Varus favor. That's going to take down the False Prince very cleanly. Also takes another point of damage down on Missing Toes. So he's down to 2 now.
Yeah, he's dead. He doesn't have anything that can cleanly kill this Recano Outlaw, so
Nope.
he's just dead to chump blocking.
Yep, he's going to have to trade
Good
away.
old 3-3 with downside for 2.
Yeah, that's how Sunnyvale wins the game right there. It's like he just scales out of control very quickly. So he's able to bring that series to 1 apiece. And we're going to check out the player sideboard. So check out Missing Toes' sideboard first. We looked at this a little bit ago. He's definitely going to be sideboarding differently than he did in the last matchup, though. Like, Scorpion Wasp is actually good now. Yes, yeah, Permafrost is much better. Scorpion Wasp is very good. Those backlashes are also pretty good. The polymorphs were good in the last matchup, going to be good here as well for any of the scarier units or the ones that have been hit with 15 war cries. So this is looking, his sideboard's still very good. I mean, Missing Toes just has a good sideboard in general. That's the advantage of playing Elysian, is you get a lot of very strong cards. And he's got them. So, I mean, if I'm looking at this, like, the 2 Scorpion Wasps are definitely in. I'm throwing the Permafrost in, so 3 polymorphs is 6. So, yeah, he has to cut, like, 6 cards. And, he can cut a lot. He can cut away, like, some of the smaller units, like Temple Scribes and things like that. Not necessarily going to need. Friendly Wisp might go by the wayside.
And maybe even Scouting Party. Like, you just want to lower your curve against an aggressive deck. Like, Scouting Party is more of a card advantage and anti-harsh rule card than a anti-Stone Scar card.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, Scouting Party definitely not needed as much here. And on the other side of the table, we got Sunnyvale. He's got 4 copies of Suffocate. He's got 2 Groundbreakers. He's got Lethrai Falchions. He's got Statuary Maiden. He's got Stone Scar Maul. So a lot of different cards that could come in this matchup depending on how he wants to play it from here.
Yeah, either of the 4-drop units could be good, like the Groundbreakers and the Statuary Maidens, depending on how he wants. Suffocate doesn't have a lot of targets, but like the rest of those cards are pretty reasonable.
Yeah, I think Lethrai Falchion will probably get left out. I don't think it's quite good enough in this matchup since it doesn't really give the units much health. And a lot of Missing Toes units can really go toe-to-toe. So I have a feeling we'll see that one get left out. But yeah, I could see either the Groundbreakers or the Statuary Maidens getting brought in. And if he wants to make his curve a little bit bigger in case he needs to take care of the threatening units, he could also bring in the Stone Scar Mauls. They also do punish Missing Toes, rather, keeping alive like those smaller units, like when he is keeping alive the Temple Scribes and various small tokens, Amber Acolytes, Dawnwalkers even. You can push through a lot of damage, so potentially we'll see those picked up.
Yeah, there's just it's just the way that Sunnyvale's built this main deck and sideboard, it really allows for a lot of pivoting to a little more controlling and a little more aggressive. Yep. So we'll see which line he wants to take against Elysian.
Yeah, and the players are queuing up right now, I believe. So we'll be jumping into this match in just a second and checking out what's going on. And yep. And right now, let's see what our opening hands are. And Missing Toes has the play. That's something we haven't really talked about too much today, but it's very, very important in this matchup in particular, which player is on the play. Since both players are looking to get a very aggressive start, and Missing Toes has cards like Initiative of the Sands. Like, if he's on the play and he has Initiative of the Sands, it's possible for him to ramp into 4-drops before Sunnyvale can really even get valuable units forward.
Yeah, like Sunnyvale has a like right now a Varus favor, but he doesn't get to just use it on turn 2 and get in for.
Exactly. Like if this had been the other way around, this Oni Ronin would be swinging away and Missing Toes would be the one who is behind. But yeah, instead he's just using Temple Scribe there, gain a little bit of life. This provides him a nice chump blocker as well. We do see the Varus favor coming out now, though, so that's going to set him back a turn. Not that it particularly matters to Missing Toes, since he has the Dawnwalker that he elected not to play last turn, instead to use the Temple Scribe to create another chump blocker.
Yeah, Missing Toes decides to play a 2-1 to chump to trade instead of a 4-1. Doesn't have a way to bring back Dawnwalker yet.
Yeah, not quite. And we do see Sunnyvale just starting to load the board up. That was his last power he had, so he is going to be looking for a 4th power to get the Statuary Maiden into play. But he does have some nice threats on the board to start. We're going to see Praxis Displacer come down, put Rakano Outlaw in hand. And that's
kind of interesting not to see Missing Toes swing with the 2-1 there. I guess he doesn't want to trade the 3-2 for an Oni, but...
Yeah, I think he wants to keep the 3-2 for another trade. And he's just trying to ensure that like there's no like weird combat tricks or anything like that, like a torch or Sunnyvale's packing torches, right? Like I have to imagine he is. I just haven't seen
Torch seems very good. Lets you like trade up with Rakano Outlaw, kills false prints.
Yeah, I just haven't seen any today. It's been weird. Yeah, he is playing 4 copies though, of course, and he is loading this board up, but the Reinarch's kind of holding everything in place, and all the other units trade off fairly well. We see Dawnwalker now hitting the table. His second Dawnwalker in hand. I think Missing Toes has like gummed this board up pretty well, considering Sunnyvale hasn't hit a 4th power. Like if Sunnyvale hits a 4th power, we're definitely going to see an A space here, since he'll be able to drop the Statuary Maiden and pick up all those Stone Scar Malls.
Yeah, it's going to be Cudgel City.
Cudgels. Yeah, Cudgels. Yeah, there will be a ton of Cudgels here if he can make it to that point. I mean, that's really where we're pressing to right now. Sunnyvale picks up a Rapid Shot, so he doesn't get the 4th power, but Rapid Shot's pretty good here. It'll allow him to do some tricky things if he wants to, but looks like he's just going to pass and hold off until he can get the Statuary Maiden into play.
This is such an unusual matchup for a board stall. Like both of these decks want to attack so much, but both of them have such explosive like damage potential that they don't want to attack and let the opponent attack back.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're just trying to hold the board at this point, and like whereas Sunnyvale would normally be going in, like he's going to lose most of his units, and he's kind of just trying to hold off until he can drop the Statuary Maiden to make these attacks as profitable as possible. So until he hits that 4th power, he's not going to be doing any attacking.
Somewhat awkwardly, Missing Toes probably boarded out Crystallize. Like generally, you don't think of Crystallize being very good here. I mean, maybe he kept in like 1 or 2 is just like a fog type effect, but I wouldn't think he'd be maxed out on Crystallizes against Stone Scar Burn. But it'd be really, really good in this situation.
Yeah, and Sunnyvale just using his advantage to pressure in a little bit of damage, and he's got another Champion of Chaos down here. Like if he can pick up a Shadow Sigil, not only will that give him the Statuary Maiden, but it'll give both of these Champion of Chaos +1 attack and Deadly. So that'll allow him to start attacking if he wants to. And right on time, does pick up the Deadly on it. And he's going to force in here again since the power was depleted. Doesn't need to get the Statuary Maiden into play on this turn, as he can't quite yet. But next turn, we're definitely going to see a full board swing.
So if Missing Toes ever finds a 5-strength unit, he gets to also attack with Dawnwalkers, trade him off, and bring him right back. So I think that Missing Toes drawing a 5-strength unit was pretty much the equivalent of Sunnyvale drawing a 4th power. So Missing Toes kind of needs to find one now to catch up to this Maiden, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, well, the Dawnwalkers will get turned into Cudgels, so it's unlikely, although we do see a Xenon Initiation picked up, so he's going to fire that off now, though. He's going to stick it on a Dawnwalker, which is fine. I mean, that's like a pretty fair trade there. But, yeah, he's going to get a big attack in here since that just cleared another blocker off, and the Statuary Maiden's going to have to be cleared by that Dawnwalker in particular, so there'll only be 1 Dawnwalker left on the field.
I imagine Sunnyvale just isn't going to attack with the Statuary Maiden.
No, he's not. It's the way it's going to die is that Missing Toes will eventually find a 5-power unit, and he'll use Dawnwalker to the one with Xenon Initiation to
Gotcha.
go ahead and clear it. That's the only way I see this getting traded away.
We'll see if Sunnyvale has the presence of mind to put a Cudgel on it and then not attack with it, I guess, to make it immune to both the 5-2 Dawnwalker and the Scorpion Wasp.
Yep. That's exactly what he's going to need to do here, and we're likely going to see some trades here since I don't think Missing Toes can afford to eat all this damage.
It looks like he's going to take 4, although that's going to turn into 7 after the Instigator triggers, and then Sunnyvale gets a pile of Cudgels.
Yep, he's going to get 3 Cudgels here. I can't blame Missing Toes for not wanting to block here with the Dawnwalker. Doesn't want to lose it entirely. He's more hoping that he can hit a 5-drop and use the other one. But as you said, if Sunnyvale is playing optimally, he's just going to take a Cudgel here and drop it on top of Statuary Maiden.
All right, that ends up blocking the Dawnwalker, so that's 4 cudgels. So suddenly Sunnyvale's hand is just full of arms.
Yeah,